The family is back together. The Rangers family, that is, as we talk all things baseball and big news for Rangers fans. It's coming up next on the DLLS Rangers Podcast. They are staying classy and staying successful in San Diego as the NLDS continues. It is one of the great lines in cinematic history. It's when Ron Burgundy looks at the camera and begs the viewers of San Diego to stay classy, San Diego. It's from Anchorman, if you didn't know that already, and maybe you don't think that's one of the best movies in cinematic history, but a former Anchorman does. I'll tell you that right now.
Dude.
John Radigan back. I'm back with my fam here. It's great to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Yes, missed you guys too. And we will be all over this NLDS. They've done a great job keeping you up to date with what's going on, all the former Rangers in these series and everything. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But first, let's remind everybody who we are. Rads, Abs, J-Dub, Prophet over there. That's the producer of the show, The Prophet, and we are the DLLS Rangers Podcast. We ask that you like us. We ask that you subscribe to us. We ask that you become diehards. We'll ask you that in a more formal way a little later on in the program. For right now, we do have big news. Jeff had it behind the paywall today, Jeff. And it's a significant story. It's really not just for Rangers fans. It's for payroll. It's for so many things. There are tentacles in this television story that reach almost everywhere.
The biggest one, though, is the payroll. The Rangers still don't know how much money they're going to have to spend this offseason. And that needs to happen soon. And maybe they can do forecasts on what this whole TV thing is going to look like. It looks like they're going to be distributing their games, maybe producing, maybe not. But they're going on their own. No more Diamond Sports Group. They did have an offer from MLB to do both, which apparently they've moved on from. Though I wouldn't be surprised if MLB is still offering some support along the way. But yeah, it's a big deal. This has been hanging over the team for 2 years now. It affected payroll last year when the Diamond deal got produced, kept the Rangers from doing what they wanted in the offseason. And now we are here in the offseason a year later, and they still aren't quite sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, and truthfully, at this point, and obviously, I've been knee-deep in this through my affiliation with Bally for all those years. And so this stage in the game, ironically, believe it or not, is still pretty late in the process to decide that you're going to do your own thing. Now, that said, the Dallas Mavericks have done that, and they did it very late in the process. The Mavericks are just now still hiring people to be a part of their production team.
They already have preseason games
and they
going.
have preseason games going. Their season starts in way less than a month, so it's possible. But that's a quick turnaround to create an entire production team. I think that and look, both the Stars and Mavs, I know people deep in both, and they both know this first year is almost like a trial, right?
Yeah.
To see if this works, and if it doesn't, then to tweak it. And so the Rangers would certainly be willing to do that too. The big difference, though, is I know that Rangers ownership does not have the stomach financially. They certainly have the funds, but do they want to spend them to build their own television network? That takes a lot of money. The number of people that the Dallas Mavericks have hired, and frankly, for that matter, the number of people that the Victory Network have hired is astounding. It's astronomical, and that is something that the Rangers will have to do already from a somewhat thinned out talent pool. And we're not talking about the on-air people. Most of those will stay the same. We're talking about the hundreds of people who support a broadcast, all of the people who are behind the scenes. Look, they've all done a great job over the years for Fox and then for Bally. Many of them go all the way back to the HSE days. These are really, really talented people, and they will be working, but will they have the opportunity to work for either one, any of, and or all of these teams? That's the big questions. And can the Rangers get enough talent over there to build an entire network, and especially in a relatively short period of time? That's the question. Now, I know the man who is sort of charged with putting this all together. John Heike is his name, and he was once the general manager at Fox Sports and then at Bally, and then actually he never made it to Bally because he took a buyout before Bally became a thing. So John knows what he's doing. And if anybody could pull something like this together, I would say it's John. John's strength is the distribution. It is the just the inner working process that's so difficult. It's the kind of stuff that literally John Blake told me one of the reasons he was retiring now was because he didn't want to have to deal with all of the processes that go into finding affiliates in all these different markets. The beauty of Bally and Fox before it was that you would be in 5 states: Texas, Oklahoma, parts of New Mexico, Louisiana, and parts of Arkansas. That's great. That's coverage like you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
They won't get with any of these other options. But they did have with that, and it's one of the reasons they were reluctant to let Bally go. So it's a long way of saying we kind of saw this coming, but we were not sure it would because of all of these different complications that accompany it.
Well,
right.
that's okay, so you have Dave and whoever's in the booth with them, but they're club employees. Emily Jones is a club employee.
That's right.
So they don't count.
No.
But it's the cameramen and the people who help do the stats and monitor the booth, and then people in the truck.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. The camera people will maintain their status as freelancers, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a crewing company that hires all of them, and they'll be the same.
But it's like the production truck of it.
But to your point, the truck. It's the director. High-paying job. It's the producer, high-paying job. You have to have a backup director, high-paying job.
Stage
a backup
manager.
producer. You have to have stage managers. You have to have people in what they call the front row, which is the producer, the director, the technical director, and the producer. In the back row, you've got stats and graphics, and there's so many people that are involved in the process, and those people typically have always worked for Bally or for Fox. Now, presumably, in the case of the Mavericks, I know this. The Mavericks hired the man who was directing the games for Bally and the man who was producing the games for Bally to be employees of their organization. So, and as well as a lot of other people from Bally. So,
well, it takes a village to produce a game. And, I mentioned this yesterday. This isn't the only baseball club that's dealing with this issue because Bally covers majority of baseball teams across the country. So there are plenty other teams. I mean, my dad works for Bally Sports Detroit. They're having similar conversations about will they be an internal broadcast with the club next year? Will it go to MLB? So it does kind of feel like the sky is falling a little bit for Rangers fans, but I would say in the game of baseball, a lot of other clubs are kind of having to have these tough conversations as well.
Yeah, and what I've always told Rangers fans when they ask about this, and frankly, I've told this to the people who I've worked with, again, those camera operators and all those people whose livelihood depends on these broadcasts. I've always said the Rangers will be broadcast on TV somewhere.
Right.
It's just a matter of where, and they will be. Next year, you will be able to get the Rangers games. Ironically, right at the end of the season this year, all of those people who are on Charter Communications, Charter Cable, who could never get Bally for 4 years, got it. They finally did a deal with Charter. I have Spectrum cable at home. I'm watching the Rangers on cable at home. And I never had. I always had to have that plus DirecTV if I wanted to get Bally. Now Spectrum has the Rangers, so it's so ironic that they've finally gotten a deal to where the vast majority of cable customers in this market can watch the Rangers on cable. But look, there was just too much, bad water that had gone under the bridge, and it was time. The Rangers had just completely soured on the group, not the people. The group that is Diamond Sports and Bally Sports. And not only that, I know for a fact Major League Baseball is completely sour on the Diamond Group. If it was up to Rob Manfred, if it was up to him, no baseball team in America would be on Bally, or it's probably going to be called FanDuel Sports.
FanDuel, I saw that yesterday.
In the near future. If it were up to Rob, because again, it'll still be owned by Diamond. And if it were up to Rob, his grievance is with, I think, just one guy who's way at the top of Diamond. And he would love for them never to have baseball again. Now, I don't know that that's going to be possible, but that's what that would be his wish.
I mean, interesting too, MLB and NHL work together. So it's like you do think about a lot of those teams that kind of come into package deal.
Yes.
Which is interesting that I guess a lot of people were surprised that Victory didn't pick up the Rangers.
Yes. And again, the failure, if you will, of Victory right now is there's no place to watch them on TV. So the failure of Bally was that it was so difficult to watch them. You couldn't watch them via streaming services. However, the majority of viewers still watch their games on TV. So it was a loud minority of people who screamed about the fact that we can't stream the Rangers games, right? Now, let's see. And look, I've talked to Brad Albers when he was here. Brad was up here with the Stars show, and I talked to him about it, and he said, we know this might not work, right? We're only streaming, and that's where the Rangers weren't interested in being only streaming. They want both. Now, interestingly, the Victory Group has contracted with the Anaheim Ducks as well. They actually have a streaming service and a local channel providing their broadcast. They kind of marry. And Brad told me, he goes, we're going to be watching it really closely and see which way works better. But they are all in. And they're also a part owner. The Stars are a part owner of Victory. So they're all in on the streaming portion of it and still feeling very confident that it's going to work well for them. It'll be really interesting to see.
Well, it seems like there's a partnership waiting to happen.
Yes. And I think probably with one of those two, but I think more likely with the Mavs, right? The Mavs have created a production department that's much more traditional to how these games are produced. I mean, the Stars have too, frankly, but it seems more likely that the Mavs, but maybe, who knows, maybe all three could figure out a way to come together.
That would fit.
A one-stop shop for Dallas
that would
fans.
fit. It would be just like they have now,
Yes.
And maybe you could pick up high school football games.
Yep.
Maybe you could pick up,
WNBA.
The state tournaments, the Wings. The Yes Network we were talking about yesterday has the Yankees, but they have the Nets and they have the Liberty.
Yep.
And they do other things too. So if you want to be a full-fledged network with programming around the clock, 365 live inventory throughout the year, you need partners. You just, the baseball season's long, but it isn't that long. And you just can't fill all that space with one team. You've got to have partners. And I think that if the Rangers had known 12 months ago that the diamond deals with the NHL and the NBA were going to fall apart too, it would have been a perfect opportunity for the three of them to come together and be like, all right, let's do this.
But I'm curious if the Rangers were not interested in Victory because it's a free service. And fans love Victory because it's free, but there's a catch eventually down the road. That's just because
it's free for now.
It's the first year. Yeah. So they want to kind of create the fan base, but it won't be free forever. And I think that every, sports fan is like, oh, let's just go to Victory because it's free and I can watch it. Great idea. But, this is a $1 million production. You've got to have money coming back in your pocket.
You do. And the reality is that there aren't that many people who are, probably Jeff's age, certainly my age, I know I can watch an app on my TV. Yeah. And I do it. I mean, I do all the time. But a lot of people my age don't, and they don't want to deal with it.
Right, because I think you saw that switch with Thursday Night Football going to prime.
Right, exactly.
But Ben asked a really good, or presented a statement, and now I want to ask a question. As long as I can watch Rangers game for free or dirt cheap, I'm good. So if you're...
What's the price point, Ben?
Give me a number, Ben. What number are you willing to pay to watch 162 games a year? I'm really interested to know.
Yeah, and it's a great question. And look, that was the one thing that always angered me, if you will, when I was still in the depths of Bally and we were trying to hold it together. And I couldn't say this then, but back in the day when HSE first started, I was in Detroit. It was called Pro-Am Sports Systems at the time. Previously, all of the games had, and again, there was only 1 or 2 a week. There was never a home game, because they didn't want to take away from the crowd that would go to the ballpark. So you didn't get any home games in those days, and you only got occasional weekend games on the road, and they were produced by one of the local TV stations, right? All of a sudden, here comes HSC, or here comes PASS in my case, and you've got to pay for that on cable. And, but if you do, you get to watch, even then they weren't doing 162, but they were probably doing 140. You would get to watch games almost every night. You loved it. But there were people then going, I'm not paying for cable to watch the Tigers. I'm not doing it. And you know what the people who really wanted to watch the Tigers or the Rangers did? They paid for it.
Right.
And this time around, like, I'm not paying to get DirecTV. It's like HSE. It's the same thing. You got to pay if you want to watch them. What did he say?
One said if it's just Rangers, I'd be fine with 30 or 40 for the year.
Okay.
Unlikely. And then Ben said per month under 25, per year under 100.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually that's pretty reasonable. I
think the per month under 25.
I think the 20 a month is.
That's what.
But that one kind of set off Mariners fans. So
did it? Did that set off Mariners? I mean, look, I know this. My family in Detroit, when they wanted 20 a month on the Bally app in Detroit, they all screamed. They're like, do you have any contacts where we can get this for cheaper? I'm like, it's $20 a month,
All right, $14.99. That's where we're going.
All right, we're late. I got all passionate about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've got to pay some ads.
Yeah, we got to pay some bills here. We got to take care of a little business, but we are going to get into the NLDS games from last night. We're also going to preview the ALDS and the NLDS games from today, and we've got lots more to do. It's the Rangers DLLS Podcast.
Our friends from Blue Chew are back, and they want to help. They want to help you, the fellas, and it indirectly or directly, helps the ladies. Blue Chew, our friends. Let's go. They say first impressions are important. What about lasting impressions? You know where I'm going there. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew helps you boost your confidence in the bedroom so you can perform at your very best. All right. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. It's a simple process at BlueChew.com. Consult with their licensed medical providers. Once you're approved, you'll get your prescription within days. Tablets are made in the USA, which is good, and they ship directly to your door. It's all done online. You don't have to go to the doctor or talk to anybody on the phone about setting up a visit and talk under your breath about what the problem is. And you can take them day or night. So plan ahead and be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Here we go. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when using our promo code ALLCITY at checkout. Just pay the $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code ALLCITY to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
We do indeed, and we thank Empire, too, because Empire is the place to go. Empire today. For all your flooring needs. It's fantastic. The floor in the other studio has been done by Empire. We all love that. It's just beautiful. It's, Jeff's talked about how the floors at his house are getting kind of nasty. Don't let your floors get nasty. Go to Empire today, and get yourself a new set of floors. Empire Today will give you $350 off of new floors. EmpireToday.com/DLLS. All right. So we got to talk about the. Have we finished everything? Did Ben weighed in, right, on his.
Yeah.
On the money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the money?
Yeah, we chatted about the money.
Yeah.
So we finished that.
No,
Good.
that story isn't going to go away.
No. It'll be all winter. I mean, it'll literally be all winter.
And then it'll probably be next season too.
Yeah, and I told a couple of people today who were wondering, oh, man, the Mavs hired all these people. I wonder if the Rangers will hire me. Some people who were more involved, right, with Rangers than anything else at Bally. And I'm like, well, just realize that some of the Mavs people got hired this week. So it could be in the month. It could be in March that the Rangers production crew is finalized. So I told them, be patient. Because you never know when this might happen. It's one of the reasons I'm so glad I'm at ALLCITY.
I know. I was like,
finally,
this really matters with our jobs.
Right. But we were at Bally, you two. We were all just walking around like with this uncertainty, like what's going to happen next. And now
I know.
We are. Here's what's going to happen with ALLCITY. We're going to keep growing, and we're going to keep adding chat people and viewers and listeners, and we're so happy to do that.
We're
going this way. Let's get into the best game.
Yeah, let's. Which one first?
Well, I think we should go chronologically, but I was just that Dodgers Padres game.
So fantastic.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's start it strong with the Mets. Mets lead the series now 2-1. They won 7-2.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the pitching effort that we saw from Mets starting pitcher
Sean Manaea.
Sean Manaea with the pronunciations. There we go. I was really, really impressed with this. He went to the changeup slider to slow the hitter down. He was 7 innings, under 100 pitches, and he got ahead in the count with aggressive pitches. Now, the Philly starter, not that great of an outing, but this game was a defensive shutdown, I thought, from the Mets' perspective.
Yeah, I said yesterday, and we're pretty familiar with Sean Manaea from his days with the A's, and kind of the funky delivery, and the ball does different things. It's fastball and has different characteristics that make it harder to hit. But he'd always been inconsistent. But he had a great season, 180 innings. But I was surprised that he did as well as he did. There are a lot of big right-handed bats in the Phillies lineup, although 2 of their biggest are left-handers. But still, I thought Aaron Nola would have the advantage there. So get on the Mets, and we'll see what happens with the rest of this series. But if you look at this series, the Phillies had a bye, and they're teetering. The Dodgers had a bye. We'll get to them in a second, but they're almost on their way out.
Yeah.
Cleveland had a bye. It's split. And then the other series, the Yankees had the bye, and it's a split. And you kind of wonder because, do you want the bye? That's kind of been the argument here the last few years.
Rest versus rust thing.
But anyway, so the Mets are in great shape. They're at home. They have a veteran going today, Jose Quintana, against Ranger Suarez. A couple of soft tossing lefties. But this is a big game.
But one other thing, did you hear the Aunt Mabel portion of the Sean Manaea story?
No.
He found out yesterday during the day his Aunt Mabel, who he was very close to, had died.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah. And so he took the mound not knowing that, but basically afterwards, all of his post-game remarks were about this one was for Aunt Mabel, which, literally may, if you believe in those kinds of things, Aunt Mabel, she's up there helping him, you know, and it literally may have, certainly it inspired him, no doubt about that. But he did things in that game, to your point about some of the pitches and some of the things you saw, Jeff, and those 2 lefties, he got both those lefties to strike out with a changeup.
Yeah.
And we're talking, 2 of the great left-handed hitters in the game today, and he got both of them on changeup. By the way, prior to yesterday, he threw a changeup as an out pitch to a left-handed hitter one time this season.
Well,
really?
And he did it in back. I think, don't they hit back-to-back in the lineup?
They're split. But
split, yeah.
I think they're split.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, your point is taken.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I always love that sort of emotional, fuel, right, that you can get as a player. Again, it speaks to what we always talk about, is the fact that these are human beings playing this game, and I thought that was one of the truly remarkable side stories of the series.
Yeah, no doubt. And we were talking about this. How incredible is it for a pitcher to go 7 innings? Especially
he started the 8th, I think,
in the postseason.
I think he started the 8th, and they gave up a single, and then they yanked him.
Right, because that's something that I think we're seeing less and less in the regular season. To see it I've just been really blown away by starting pitching.
Yeah,
like it's really been pretty dominant performances across the board. And what you're going to get from guys like Tarik Skubal. I mean, he's going to win the Cy Young for a reason, but it's, this kind of story. This has maybe, I think, been the best division series I've seen in a long time.
Not all of them. You're talking about all 4.
Not just this matchup.
Well, look, I think
just
anytime
that
to Jeff's point, again, we haven't had this level, right, with the 5-game series, but anytime where there was a bye, right, but anytime you have the road team win, split in all 4 series, that's pretty juicy.
Oh, yeah. It's the first time it happened.
This was the very first time?
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's great. It's great baseball. And the Padres and the Dodgers, you talk about Sean Manaea's emotions. This is a different kind of emotion these guys are dealing with the fury and the anger and all that stuff. But that was a crazy game. You score 6, take a 6-1 lead, then you give up a grand slam. So after 3 innings, it's 6-5.
6-5.
And that was the final.
It ends 6-5. That was the amazing thing. I'm watching that game going, this is going to be an 11-10 slugfest.
Yeah.
And of course, that San Diego bullpen.
Unbelievable.
They were unbelievable. And obviously the Dodgers bullpen did a good job too. But I thought that was great. And I thought it was great that, again, I think the Padres fans, speaking of staying classy, San Diego, Padres fans booed Dave Roberts a bit, and that type of thing.
That's fine.
But that's part of the game. I thought in general, not only them, but especially the players handled it well. Machado foremost among them. He's just I'm going to talk about baseball. Just talk about baseball. I don't want to talk about that stuff.
Yeah. But I do think that the Padres are leaning into this villain role.
Sure.
That, they've now been labeled as. Yeah. And I think that they play into it. And they were kind of talking on the pregame, Big Papi and Derek Jeter and A-Rod and all the things. If you play to their level, you play into that, and then you're kind of like putting gas in their tank, So this series is chippy. I was asking Jeff, do you think this is the most, I don't know if toxic is the word, or just biggest rivalry of this early in the postseason?
Well, I don't remember if the Yankees and Red Sox ever met this early. I don't think they ever have, but that thing was so toxic back in the day. I mean, it was unbelievable. But there are people comparing this rivalry, this would be the second time in 3 years that the Padres oust the Dodgers, who we all know spend the most money and who we all think has as good a team as anybody out there. And for them to be ousted by this upstart bunch of Padres 2 years out of 3, this is a heck of a rivalry right now.
Yeah, the Dodgers have had their problems in this series. Not really since winning the World Series. They just haven't. They've had some early exits, and their starting pitching has just crumbled on them late in the season. And this year they're without Kershaw. Tyler Glass now isn't available to them, and so you're all this money they've spent on the pitching. I think Yamamoto isn't going to pitch today, but it's a fundamental thing. You've got to have starting pitching at the most important time of the year, and they haven't had it. And so, it's a scramble. They're going to start a reliever today, whether it's an opener situation or just a straight bullpen game. But it's like, it's not really Dave Roberts' fault. You can't blame Dave Roberts. And Andrew Friedman, the president of baseball operations, everybody loves him and everything, but this is a flaw that has to be fixed, and it's not something that the coaches can do, because the coaches don't put the roster together.
Right.
So there's some issues there, and of course they can win the series and go on to win the World Series, but right now they're hurting. And in a 7-game series, if you don't have the starting pitching and you have to lean on your bullpen, you're going to get worn out the deeper the series goes. So yeah, I think it's advantage Padres. Although Dylan Cease is starting on short rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not that he threw 100 pitches in the opener, but still, short rest is tricky too. To your question, the most I can think of, John brought up Yankees, Red Sox. So there's the Don Zimmer, Pedro Martinez confrontation.
Yeah, that's right.
2003 when Pedro basically threw the old man to the ground. And then last year in the Rangers and the Astros.
Rangers and Astros.
I was going to bring that one up
Game
too.
5, and then Martin Maldonado popped off, said you woke up the giant or the sleeping bear or whatever, and then the series goes to Houston, and I mean, Adolis was just booed vociferously all first 4 at bats, struck out in all of them, 5th at bat, grand slam, and then that was that. But but those are championship series. Division series, it doesn't happen.
This has got to be the chippiest.
No, that's right. It probably is.
Yeah.
When you think about it from a divisional series standpoint, because those really intense ones typically happen at the CS level, right?
Yeah.
The championship series level. So,
and at that point, they try to do a good job of spreading it. I don't know if it's possible. Spread out the division foes. Like I know the Mets and Dodgers and Padres and Phillies are division foes, but when you get to that championship series, especially in the old days, that was part of the structure of the playoffs, was to avoid first round matchups of division teams. So that's why the Yankees always ended up playing the Twins there in the early 2000s and later 2000s, because there was always an East team that was a playoff team, and they had to play the other team. So anyway, I think I was rambling, but
yeah, it's all good. It definitely speaks to this round of the playoffs as being so intense and so much fun. And that's what we're going to continue to talk about it. We will get to previews of all 4 games. I love this too on these quadruple headers. All 4 games, we'll preview those coming up next. And of course, a little later on, I've got a bone to pick with some of these home run celebrations. We'll talk about it as we continue on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
All right, so I know that you see all of this great memorabilia, bobbleheads, everything behind me, and that is thanks to our friends at FOCO. They have the best sports gear around. You can get jerseys, T-shirts, hats, things for your room. When I was a kid, I liked to decorate my room with pennants and all the things. So you can get all of that at a great price. They have hoodies and shoes, bobbleheads. They even have overalls for, the big... where I'm from, big SEC. People like to wear overalls to games. I don't know if I would, but hey, to each their own. So thank you to FOCO for the set decor that we have, not only in this room, but in the main room as well. We have loved it, and especially around the holidays, if you have the biggest Luka fan, Kyrie, Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, the list goes on, you can check out FOCO.com or click the link on our website and everything. For non-presale items, use the promo code DLLS10 for 10% off.
Fantastic.
And you can use that 10% off on your new Rugged Road cooler. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating the innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, land or water. These things float.
Yeah. Love that.
They're light, so you can, manage them and carry them and all that stuff a lot easier than some of these coolers that the Wilson family has. And they're durable and dependable, perfect for the lake, perfect for taking out on the golf course, I guess. Taken to the youth ball field. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road, ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for over 10% off.
Woo.
10 more.
That's right.
Love it. Love everything about these playoffs, as we were mentioning before our bill paying time. And it has just been fantastic baseball. And, we talked a lot about what happened yesterday in those 2 games, the Mets game and the Padres game. I guess I'll just mention the 2 winners, right? But they were both teams that split on the road to start that series, as did the 2 teams in the American League. And maybe the most surprising of those would be the Royals.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, everybody thought the Yankees were back, right? And then the Royals just went in there and said, somebody forgot to tell us that.
I said that Royals were one and done. So that's on me.
Well, I like them against the Orioles. I did not like I liked the Yankees in the series and still do, just because there's so much firepower.
There is.
Although, they do have some maybe some pitching issues. They're not a perfect team. This isn't the Yankees in the late 90s by any stretch, but so much firepower, and then the Royals hadn't been in for 9-10 years, so a lot of first-time participants in the postseason. You always wonder how they're going to handle it, but again, they played that wild card round. They won. They really should have won Game 1. They had the opportunity there and didn't win it at Yankee Stadium, but they pretty much controlled that second game, and now they get to go home to Kansas City, which it's not just the Chiefs fans. They're Royals fans there. They wrap their arms around that ball club when they're good, and so we'll see. But Seth Lugo on the mound tonight. You got to think advantage Royals on the pitching front against Clark Schmidt, who's been hurt most of the year.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But
not the most favorable matchup there.
And Bobby Witt hits so well at home. Hopefully, maybe he can get out of that 0-9 little funk to start the series. But I mean, it's no sure thing here with the Yankees.
No, and it's, I think to your point about, the series it's far from over.
Yeah.
Because you and I both remember the 2010 series in the first round, Rangers against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right.
And the Rangers go into Tampa and win the first two. There is no doubt they are coming home to close out the series, and I'll be danged, Tampa Bay won the next two in Arlington.
Right.
And it went back to Tampa Bay, and there was no doubt the Rangers were losing. It was just like, forget about it.
Yeah.
And they won and moved on to face the Yankees in the ALCS.
Yeah.
And I think the exact same thing happened in 15,
but the
right?
Rangers ended up losing
with the Blue
Game
Jays.
5.
Yeah.
But they lost Game 5. That's right.
And, it's and then in 11, the Rangers opened the playoffs at home against the Rays, lost the first game badly, and but then won the next 3. It's just, you never know what you're going to get here.
Yeah.
But but I mean, even that recently, it was a different time. Who do you think of in 2010 with the Rangers? You think of Cliff Lee just dominating,
right.
Throwing 9 innings. It was like no question he was going 9 innings.
Yeah.
And then in 11, you still had a good rotation and guys that would go deeper into games. And when Abby was talking about Skubal going 6 and Mania going 7 and Yu Darvish went 7.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that was no big deal 10 years ago. But now with the way that they lean on bullpens and he can't face a batting order a third time. The thing is, pitchers for 125 years were facing batters a third time
at least
through the lineup, and then all of a sudden it's taboo. So I don't know, but the game is slanted toward these kick-ass bullpens, and Padres check that box big time. And so do the Guardians, really, and Detroit's bullpen's good too, but
slowing down a little bit.
Well, that's the problem here. You're leaning on them.
They're
You're all these
overworking
bullpen
them.
games.
Look,
so you can get days off, but still, if you're pitching back-to-back games, the stuff's always down the second game. If you're pitching 3 straight days, all bets are off.
Well, and do you have any more in your magical data there?
I've got plenty. I was just waiting to see where we want to go. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
so this is the first time hosting a postseason game since Game 2 of the 2015 World Series.
Okay.
So the Royals fans are excited for this.
Yes.
They've been waiting a long time. The MVPs of the American League literally have to pop off. I literally mean that because, like you mentioned, Bobby Witt's 0 for 10 with 4 strikeouts in this series. Judge is 1 for 7, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. Judge in his career against Lugo, 0 for 8 with 3 strikeouts. So haven't seen much damage there. We've talked about this too with Judge just not getting pitched to. So the opportunity really isn't there. But Clark Schmidt making his first postseason start. He has an 11 ERA.
Yeah.
11.57 if we want to be exact. across the postseason relief appearances. So maybe he has more luck at the start than in relief. I'm not sure. But I will say Kansas City needs to get the job done, because if not, they're going back to New York, Yankee Stadium, and they are going to face Garrett Cole. And good luck in a winner-take-all elimination game against Garrett Cole.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And to your point about both Bobby Witt Jr. and about Aaron Judge, look, the mantra in all of sports is you must have your best players be your best players in the playoffs, right? That's Fernando Tatis. We didn't even mention him in the segment about the Padres. Yeah, we will. We'll get to Fernando. But that is unbelievable what he's done, and you need that out of your best players. Now, they obviously, San Diego, as well as others, have a lot of best players. In the case of New York and Kansas City, it's pretty clear who the best players are on their teams, and your best players need to be your best players. So that's certainly something. And with regard to the Royals having not been there since 2015, because they won one, I think maybe in 15 or 16. Which year did the Royals win?
They won in 15.
They won
lost in 14.
They went in 14 and 15.
Bochy's Giants.
Yeah, okay. So because of that, maybe it doesn't seem like, to me, it's been that long. Because in Detroit, where I came from, where I was last week, everybody's going, we haven't had a playoff game since 2014.
3,657 days.
Right? But the Royals have been almost as long, and nobody seems to be lamenting that. That said, they've got a trophy.
Yeah.
The Tigers haven't.
It stings a little less.
Yeah. The Tigers haven't won a trophy since when?
84?
84.
Oh, what a team.
84. Wow. Yeah, 35-5. Man, that's my first year in the business. That was great. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so the Tigers, and the question I kept asking my Tiger family people was, do you really think the Tigers can win the World Series with
Skubal
starting
and pitching chaos?
You can't. I tell them I've got a bet with my 92-year-old.
Are you off the Tigers now?
No,
or are you
I
just
love
being
the
realistic?
Tigers. That's I told my 92-year-old. It's my dad's wife. My mom, God rest her soul, is gone, but he's remarried. She's 92, and she's betting me. And she said, "I'm going to call you, and I'm going to tell you." And I said, "I hope you do. I will be so happy, right? I'll be so happy to be wrong because I'm a Tigers fan. I just know baseball, and it's so unlikely, almost impossible to win in the playoffs with one pitcher, right? And I love the fact that A.J. Hinch is owning it, right? And he's named it.
Yeah,
it's chaos. It's chaos, and it is.
It's no secret that Tarik Skubal is their weapon. Yeah. And they're one of their only weapons, because Detroit pitchers not named Tarik Skubal have allowed 7 runs in 10 innings pitched this series. So those games that Skubal starts, you have to win. Yeah,
and the Tigers know they can win that game 1-0 easy.
Right.
Easy.
Right. Yeah. And they're hoping that they, have the firepower at Comerica, because you've been to a game there. I mean, you know what it's like. It is a very exciting environment. I mean, I do the pitching matchup today, it's not like, my money's on this game for sure. But I will say Alex Cobb with the Guardians, it's just, not looking great for the Guardians because, this is his fourth time
start of the year, right?
That he's pitched in the big leagues.
First time since September 1st.
Because he had hip surgery and then a nerve and a shoulder. So it's like
a blister too, right?
Finger blister. So he hasn't even been in this situation. You're hoping that the pitching chaos formula works. I will say that their offense needs to do something.
They do.
In particular, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Colt Keith. They're all combined 2 for 36, 0 RBI this postseason. Yeah. So a lot of things really do need to work in the Tigers' favor. The Guardians are just hoping they can get it done, because then they won't have to see Tarik Skubal, who is anticipated to start Game 5. I really don't know. I do think the home crowd's going to play into this one, and maybe the Tigers get it off, but winning 2.
Well, but to your point, if the Tigers are able to split this series with 2 chaos games, and again, one of them against a pitcher who admittedly, has just no experience this year, right?
Yeah.
No longevity, nothing, right? If they can win, and even if they have to go back to Cleveland for the 5th game, that's like the Cliff Lee game again, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Rangers did know they had Cliff Lee in Game 5, and that's why they felt extremely confident in 2010. And there's no doubt the Tigers, if they know they're going back there with Tarik Skubal, they'll feel very good about it.
Yeah. Well, and then just a couple of quick notes. 2014 Royals loss in 7 games to the Giants. Madison Bumgarner.
Yep.
Bruce Bochy just 2 days rest, said Madison, put him in like the 4th or whatever, and then he pitched his way in. And then the next year, the 2015 Royals win the World Series with Chris Young, Rangers president of baseball operations, getting a big win in Game 4 at Citi Field. So there's always a Rangers connection.
Boy, there's always a tie, isn't there?
Ben said, "Give me Mets, Tigers, World Series."
Oh my gosh, I'd be happy.
Well, that's what my 9-year-old said too. So
really. All right,
there you go.
I hope I'm wrong. That's what my 92-year-old. Actually, she didn't weigh in.
No, my 12-year-old said.
Yeah,
12-year-old said that.
My 92-year-old, wife of my dad's stepmom, I guess you'd call her, has said that too. So we got all kinds of people thinking that, and we hope, at least us Tigers fans like me and Abby, hope that's true. More to talk about. I'm a little angry, just a little, but I'll express it coming up, and we'll continue to preview these series that are coming up today.
We got the National League left.
Yeah, we got to talk about these National League games. So we will absolutely do that. We hope you will join along in the chat as you've been doing all day. We hope you'll like us. We hope you'll subscribe to us here on the DLLS podcast. But this morning, I've got to tell you, I was all around the Die Hard page. Just main reason, I saw that Jeff had a story behind the wall, and I'm like, how again do I get Jeff's behind the wall stories? And I went, and I got it easily. And you need to too. You need to avail yourself to that because, man, there's nothing worse, is there, than reading a headline, Rangers TV deal about to whatever, right? And then, however, the headline was in Jeff's story, which was, again, enough to make me interested. So I tried to click on it just on Twitter, actually. And then it sends me to the Die Hard page, and then I logged in and all that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more frustrating than reading that headline and then
not being able to read the story. So that was fantastic. Be a diehard. Will you please join us as a diehard and get all that stuff? Get 20% off merchandise. Get 20% off of the events that we are going to have. Being a diehard is the thing to do. All kinds of merch available too. You become a diehard and you get a free shirt. $35 value. The diehard subscription, $79.99. You basically got it for $45. So become a diehard and involve yourself in all this great writing. And it's not just Jeff. It's all of our other writers, too, and all this merch. And the trips.
Yeah.
You left out the trips.
I didn't even mention the trips.
There's events, and we have mentioned we're hopeful to get something going for spring training. But you want 20% off of that because it's going to be a little more than a shirt, you know?
That's right.
So 20% off of that would be great. So join a diehard to get that exclusive offer. And then the merchandise, like we talked about, we should have ours soon. Jeff said he's going to model for us.
I am.
He's ordered like 4 shirts. So head over to store.allcitynetwork.com and you'll get 10% off on your first order.
Fantastic. Yeah, let's do that. All of us.
For sure.
So let's get to the National League games that are today. And, of course, it's the same principles. You have something to finish up?
Elimination.
Oh, yeah.
It's the elimination.
Yeah. These two are elimination
do or
games.
die. So teams that have lost 12 of 14 games when facing elimination in wild card or LDS across the last 2 postseasons, both were in this year's wild card series. So with these games faced, we need to talk about the breaks because the National League with teams with byes and the new playoff format have 0 series wins since 2022.
Then this is just National League.
Yes.
Okay.
So the 6th seed has made the World Series each year, 2022 Phillies, and then the 2023 Arizona Diamondbacks, and then they have a 5-16 overall record.
And what seed were the Rangers last year? 6 or 5?
5.
5. Okay.
I said
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
So, historically looking at this, the format doesn't help the bye.
No, in fact, and then Jeff brought it up earlier, the whole rest or rust thing. I mean, the bye to me is a terrible thing. First of all, I think it's bad in any sport. I have a podcast I've done with Nate Newton over the years. We always argue about it. Again, he played. He knows. But I think in football, when you get that week off,
my dad blames not having a World Series ring on a seed. And,
really?
Yeah.
In 06?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Because
they
won the ALCS so quickly, they sat around for a week. Yeah.
He's like, I would have a ring.
Yeah. I mean, that's
it's a real thing.
Yeah. It's a thing, and it's manifesting itself this year, as Jeff brought up. When you have that time off, look, baseball players and really all athletes are a creature of habit. And the great coaches, Jimmy Johnson, when he coached the Cowboys, man, you weren't going to vary his schedule no matter what. As busy and crazy as a Cowboys team could get, no variance, right? And that's what these players get used to in all sports, is that they want the same thing, this regularity, this schedule that's the same all the time. And, a bye completely breaks that up.
Right. And maybe I butchered that first, but to simplify it for myself, 12 of the 14 teams facing elimination lost.
Right.
So let's start out with the Mets, because the Mets have something they have the opportunity to do something historic at Citi Field. That would be the first time they have a postseason clinch since the field opened in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did the math. It's 15 years ago. Here are the starting pitchers today. I'm looking at Quintana. He's 4-1 with a 0.64 ERA in his last 7 starts. He's thrown 43 consecutive innings without allowing a home run.
Yeah.
So
that's significant.
We've seen him a lot in the postseason so far. And, I'm going to probably go with the Mets in this one.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it in many sports. You don't necessarily go with or expect the best team to win. It's the hottest team.
Yeah.
And right now, I believe the Mets are hot, and Quintana's obviously hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not just in these playoffs. He's been hot in the last couple of starts he had in the regular season, too.
And Phillies aren't doing great against a left-handed pitcher. They are hitting 125.
What?
Off a lefty in this series.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So,
Jeff, did you pick yet who you think's going to win that game in that series? Don't pick, because we got...
we got the blackboard.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we grab the whiteboards? This is new to me.
We can do that. Okay. We're going to run through all teams here. All right. So 4 games happening today.
4.
And let's get into it. All right. We're just going to go. No explanations. Let me know what you're going with.
Okay. So what games
Tigers,
first?
Guardians.
Tigers.
We're going in the order of chronological.
The order of the games that will be played. And we're writing just one team right now?
I need to write bigger.
No, write one.
One right now.
Oh, well, I need to write bigger then.
Let me know when you have it.
Oh, should I? Okay, here we go.
Pick your winner. Tigers or the Guardians?
All right.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Ready.
1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Jeff.
I don't blame Jeff.
Okay.
I think it's a good, but I'm going to make sure people know I'm not off the Tigers.
Not off the Tigers. All right, Phillies, Mets.
Phillies, Mets.
Phillies, Mets.
Oh, we're going in order.
We're going in order.
All right. Stand by. Phillies, Mets.
Okay.
Oh, did I just show mine accidentally?
It's okay. I'm not looking.
All right.
We ready?
1 sec.
Oh.
All right.
Geez.
3, 2.
She's writing bonus stuff.
I got Phillies, too. She's got clinch, baby.
I do.
I got the...
All right. Phillies. Yeah.
Y'all in the chat can let us know, too. Cooper said Tigers.
And the hardest game to win is that clinching game.
So who's up now? The Royals and the Yankees?
Yankees, Royals.
Struggling with this one.
Are you?
Ready? Here we go.
Ready? Here we go. Oh, I'm the only one. Oh, the Bronx. Oh, yeah. I thought so.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You got the Bronx Bombers.
I do.
Me too.
Final. Ooh, Dodgers, Padres. This is weird because Dodgers they don't have a starting pitcher yet.
It doesn't matter. That might be your answer right there.
Yeah. It may be.
Ready?
Ready. We all got
Ooh,
pods. First time we've
Padres.
agreed. I got the pods.
All right.
Okay. Good stuff, guys.
Now, a lot of those, I had to pick the way I have picked previously at the beginning of the playoffs.
I see.
I thought the Phillies and the Guardians would make the World Series, so I had to go with them.
Oh, we know.
Sticking with it.
Although
I
had the Yankees in the ALCS, but they can still win the series even if the Royals win tonight. So,
and you had the Royals winning tonight?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going 5 games.
Yeah. In New York, Garrett Cole.
We've got to bring up Tatis before I lose my mind.
Yeah, I agree.
Tatis. Let's take a look at what he's done in this postseason.
Yeah, how about that? 4 homers in 5 games. He's 10 of 18 for a .556. And if you like an OPS near 2,000, then you probably like this guy.
That'll win you some games.
Did you know
win you some
that
games.
he has the 3rd best OPS in postseason history?
Okay.
Do you know who he's behind?
I would say, oh boy, no. Did Josh Hamilton?
Mickey Mantle. And
he's in that era.
Oh, that era.
Maybe.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth. Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig. That's pretty good names. Pretty good company. Now
3rd best OPS.
Yeah.
I mean, how does he keep doing it?
Yeah. Well, and again, at just the right time, your best players need to be your best players.
Right.
And he is. He has been.
Yeah. And small sample size, but gosh, who cares? It's
all playoffs. I mean,
all
always
playoffs are
small sample sizes. If we're comparing what Ruth and Gehrig did, there was maybe only one series in their days.
Exactly.
So that was it.
I guess I have a question for Padres-Dodgers. So Dodgers don't have a starting pitcher, like I mentioned. Their few starting pitchers have combined 15 runs and 13 1/3 innings pitched. So that's Dodgers. And then on Padres, Dylan Cease is going to get the first start on 3 days rest for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
Who has the disadvantage there?
Well, I mean, you don't see guys do this very often, but he didn't throw a ton of pitches the other day. So I think that kind of is why they're doing this. If he'd thrown 110 pitches, there's no way he'd be starting today. And he, you'd say he's their best starter. He's getting the nod, I guess, over Martin Perez in this one.
Yeah.
Martin's probably not a great matchup against the Dodgers.
No.
So,
and the reality is, it's not like they're forcing him to do this, right? This time of year, especially, it's done in consultation with the player, and they were like,
"Oh,
can
he's
you?"
excited about it.
Can you? Yes, I can. I want to, right?
Yeah.
And we all want a guy who wants the ball.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I love that. And again, when you don't it's kind of like when you don't have a starting pitcher to name, and that's why I worry about the Tigers. You can't name a starter in 4 of the 5 games, or I guess 3 of the 5 in this case.
I mean, basically, you can wear a blindfold and throw a dart. On who you're going to put in.
Yeah, it's like who are they going to open with? I mean, they definitely use it as an opener. That's how they do it. So, but you have to have starting pitching.
I'm joking. I know there's strategy behind it, but to your point, it's Tarik Skubal and pitching chaos.
Yeah, and that's essentially what the Dodgers have reverted to in a way as well. It's just chaos. Like, all right, let's just figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's worked. I mean, the Rays went to the World Series. Granted, that was, speaking of short sample sizes, that was the 2020 year. But the Rays pioneered this thing with the opener, and they went to the World Series doing it. So it's not impossible.
No, it's not. But they did have guys who could. They didn't do it every game. Yeah. So that's the
guys
thing.
that they actually took out of games that they might have kept in games, and they might not be in San Diego now. But
good stuff. Brad, it's good to have you back.
That's another story. It's great to be back.
That's
I'm
fun.
so glad to be with you guys.
Yeah. So
made our Whiteboard Wednesday game.
Whiteboard Wednesday. The Cowboys crew does that too.
Oh, they do that. Yeah, no.
So we'll steal an idea.
We'll trademark it.
And we'll steal an idea on you. But also it's sharing is caring, as Abs always says.
Right.
Yeah.
We care about those Cowboys people.
We do.
And the Stars and
All
the
of them.
Mavs.
Probably going to make them feel better about themselves.
Probably will.
Yeah.
It'll validate them.
That's
a little
right.
bit. We're all about
Your
validating.
idea was so good, we used it on our show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You think the Rangers podcast would have used it if it wasn't good? Oh, no. We wouldn't have.
Exactly.
No, we wouldn't have. So that's it. We appreciate you two, as always. Thanks for being with us on the DLLS Rangers podcast. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk more ball, y'all. Baseball, that is.
Happy Elimination Day.
We all silly like the mayor.